Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all doing okay. Welcome back to our Might and Magic 7 completionist run. Although this episode is going to be probably an unusual one. It's going to be the first, I guess you could call it a tutorial episode. So rather than trying to make progress in the game, we're going to be doing a deep dive into one particular game mechanic that, I've got to be honest, I didn't understand at all while I was playing, and for that reason I didn't call attention to it when we when we came into proximity with it, because I didn't want to draw attention to my own ignorance. But we are going to be talking all about tests and contests. Now, what are tests and contests? Well, unfortunately, you are out of your town portal uses for the day, so either we can fly back to the inn, or we can just rest. I think we're close to the inn, right? Was it? No, that's just a house. I think is that the inn? No, that's a house. You know, I don't really care. We'll rest, we'll wait until dawn, and now let's just save the game again. Save here. And Mr. Jasper, please, you know what, I'm actually also gonna cast Flight before I do this. Mr. Jasper, please, you know, have I saved with Flight active? Let's just make sure we've done that. Now finally, Mr. Jasper, please take me back to Castle Harmondale. What we're gonna do is we are going to go outside and we're gonna fly to this part of the map and we're gonna see what we have over here. Oh, isn't that interesting? What we have before us is a contest of intellect. Now, we've been here before. We did whatever contest was on this little hillside before, but I can already tell you it was not a contest of intellect when we went there before. In fact, it had to have been either a contest of accuracy or a contest of speed. So what's going on? Like, it's something rather odd that it's not the same contest that it was before. And I noticed this because when I was starting up this episode, I flew to Harmondale for some reason, and just flying over it, I noticed that this contest had changed to something different than it was previously. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pull up one of the walkthroughs that I had been consulting, and I'm gonna see what their listing is for this item, for this point on the map. So they have listed this point on the map. It's number 42. It's so the website is called The Spoiler, and they have a walkthrough for Might and Magic 6, and on their page, or for their section for the Harmondale map, they have called this a contest of might, and that was the walkthrough that I was consulting. And when I first got to this map, I don't remember exactly which of the two we got. It was either a contest of accuracy or a contest of speed. But I noticed that it was different from what the walkthrough was saying. By the way, we have not done this contest yet, so we may as well attempt it. We failed it because, aside from Alexis, none of us have a skill that's high enough to do it. Just to confirm that we haven't done this yet. I'll do it later, but before I do it, I want to make sure that you guys have the same understanding about this mechanic, the same understanding that I now do after having done some testing. So when I first noticed that this was different from what the walkthrough said, I actually got a bit worried because I assumed that it was because my game was glitching out. Because there have been other glitches in my game as well. There was one dungeon where the game was crashing. There were quests that were triggering before they should, so I just assumed something was going wrong. But then, when I came back to Harmondale and realized that the contest was changed, I finally realized what was going on. So let me cast Wizard Eye. And if we fly back to town, and in fact you can already kind of get a sense of it because you see some red dots. But more to the point, if you fly back to town, you'll see some blue dots near the stables. And what do blue dots near the stables mean? They mean that the map has reset, because the first thing I do whenever I come to any town is I pick up the horseshoes. The only way these horseshoes are back is if the entire map has reset. And then it finally hit me. It's that these contests, they aren't fixed. The game, let's just call it random or pseudo-random. It randomly decides what the contest is when you first enter an area. Excuse me. And then it'll stay that way until that area resets. And so because the Harmondale exterior map has reset, it's going to be different. And to prove that, I'm going to load my autosave. So Castle Harmondale is a different zone than Harmondale itself. So for us to go inside, for us to exit Castle Harmondale and then go inside Harmondale, once again it's us entering essentially for the first time since the reset. And now that we've entered again, we see it's different. It was intellect before, now it's endurance. I'll do it once again just to prove the point. Like, it in retrospect should have been more obvious that this was going on. Yeah, and now it's a contest of speed. This one we've already won. So now that I finally know how these work, I can give you my, or the way that I've devised for how to deal with these, if you want to do them all. So one goal that I'm setting, kind of, I've made the decision in between episodes to have this as a goal, now that I know how these work, is to do all 7 contests and all 7 tests. Now, what do I mean by tests and contests? Well, before we talk about tests, let's first keep doing this again until we get a contest that we haven't done yet. And this time we get a contest of might, which luckily enough we haven't done yet. Now let's try and do it. Zoltan wins. Roderick wins. You win. And you also win. So we won because our might for all of our characters was high enough, and our lowest character had 65 might. So I think you've got to have probably 50 or above, but we know at least 65 might would have been enough. In fact, let's try it again. Actually, no, we can't try it again because we hadn't saved it. Well, you know what? Let's try it again because there are multiple ones that we haven't done yet. We might not necessarily get might again, but we'll get something else that we can do. And I think it would be more illustrative if we got something that some of our characters are failing at. So yes, see, Zoltan has failed the luck contest. He only has 47 luck. If we gave him a do we have anything that just gives you a slight luck boost. We don't, and I don't want to start using black potions just yet. But yes, Zoltan has failed, but if we help him out a little bit with this spell, Day of the Gods, his luck has gone from 47 to 132, and this 100% is going to be enough. And we can even do it for Serena. Normally, you'd have to wait until her spell recovery time had fully elapsed before you can select her, but I used a trick where I went into someone else's inventory, and in this screen, swapped over to her, and then exited out, and she was still selected, so I was able to play the contest with her a bit quicker than I normally would have been able to. So that is the luck contest done. And I've been keeping track of which contests we've done. Excuse me, and which ones we haven't. So my throat is consistently dry these days. I don't know why. So I'm gonna save my game. I think this is our save from the last episode, is it? Or no, this is our save from... This was our save from last episode. But you know what? I'll save over this slot. You know what? I'll save there. Why not? So now that we've seen how these things work, it should be obvious now what you need to do if your goal is to win all of these. Because you only need to win them once, and then you can't win them again. So what you do is, you wait until the place has reset, and while we are here, we may as well pick up the horseshoes too, because that's yet another source of free skill points. And there should be a third one. Yeah, there it is. So you wait until the place is reset, and then before you go inside, you save your game. Before you go inside, you save your game. And then you see which test the map has generated for you, and if it's one you've already done, you load the game that you saved right before you made the map transition. You load that in, you do it again, and you keep doing it until the game has given you the one that you want. Now, because things have reset, I believe there should be one in Erathia as well.
Come in, come in.
So let's
enjoy your stay.
Rest for the night, and let's fly to Erathia, and let's try this again. Let's see where in Erathia we need to go. Sorry, it's taking a bit long, but I need to see where on the map this test or this contest is. So, unfortunately, it's hard to see because I'm looking at it on my phone and the page doesn't load correctly. But looks like the Okay, I think I see where I need to go, right? I think I see. So take me to Erathia. And we'll use you to fly because it's a bit quicker than going into one of our character's spellbooks. And the contest is on this edge of the map. Unfortunately, because it's so far away, like, you'll be spending more time flying back and forth in between if you don't get the correct one. And we know that this map has also reset because we had already killed all of these people. They are back. And we could kill them again, but we don't really care about them too much. They are low-level enemies. What we do care about more than that is free skill points. And look at that. Here's another one that we have not done yet. So we have a contest of might, which I think we might all be able to do. So what I'll do is I'll take off this. That puts you at 55 might. And we'll take that off. So 45 wasn't enough. But 55 was. So we can be pretty confident that 50 is the magic number that you need to hit. And we get some extra skill points there, and I'll cross might off the list as well. We've now done 4 out of the 7 contests. Now, earlier on, and in the title of this video, it says tests and contests. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, there are 2 versions of that challenge. One where you have to beat a stat check of 50 and you get 5 skill points. But then there's another one where you have to beat a stat check of 100 and you get 7 skill points. We've beaten one of those, the one for might, earlier on. We found it in Avli. But there are others. In fact, there was one in Evenmorn Island. I think. That we weren't able to do. So we need to get to Evenmorn Island. Unfortunately, we can only get there on Sundays because we can't teleport straight there.
Come in, enjoy your stay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to rest until
Come in, enjoy your stay.
it's Sunday.
Come enjoy your stay. Come in, enjoy your stay.
And now we should be able to go straight there. We could fly, but the boats are right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Evenmorn Island and I'll show you. Unfortunately, the audio is always garbled. I'll show you tests as well. Now, it says here it's the test of accuracy, which you failed. You are gonna succeed because your accuracy is that high. You get 7 skill points. But you failed, even though you have 93 accuracy, and you're also gonna fail, obviously. But if I do something like cast Day of the Gods, now everyone's gonna pass it. You get it. You also get it.
You're dead. Nod.
Okay, these gargoyles are really annoying me. So let's take them down, and you also need to get those 7 skill points. And let's just confirm everyone's 1. Okay. Let's just confirm that everybody's 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Okay. Now, again, if we had gotten one that we had not succeeded at yet, and I'm gonna kill these skeleton lords. There's no real reason to, but the main reason I'm killing them is because it'll give me an easy way the moment I load into the map screen from the docks to tell whether the map is reset. So if these enemies are still dead, that means it's still the old contest. If the map has reset, it means it is now generated potentially a new test. Sorry, not a contest, but a new test for us to do. A new way for us to get some free skill points. And let's cross the test of accuracy off the list.
What a skill.
Now, excuse me. Now the final thing that I'm going to share with you before we end off this highly specific tutorial episode is yeah, I'll save over this. Is we'll load the old game again first, and I think that's gonna be this one. And yeah, we're gonna have to wait until dawn, wait an hour, and we'll go back to Harmondale. Is that, let's say you've been questing for a while, let's say you don't know which contests you've already done and which ones are still on the list. You're like, okay, you've told me this, but let's say you're in the same position that I was, where you didn't know how these worked earlier on in the game, and then later on you're trying to figure out what to do with them. Well, if you're in the position that I am, where you've been recording a Let's Play, you could go back and see your earlier episodes. That'll tell you which ones you've done. But that's, number one, a very tedious thing to do. Like, even though I can do it, I'd rather not. And number two, most likely you're just playing for your own enjoyment without recording it. And in that case, what would you do? Well, the easy answer is you go to a place that has reset, but before you go inside, you save right at the transition point, and then you let the contest reset a bunch of times. You keep going back and forth between until it gives you one of each type. And then by interacting with one of each type, it'll tell you which ones you've done yet and which ones you haven't. For instance, this time it told us that we haven't done the Contest of Personality yet. So you keep doing this until you see one of each type, and then you make a note of which ones you've done, which ones you haven't, and then from then on, you can just, whenever you find a new one, cross it off the list. But yes, this is the quick and easy way to tell how many of them you've done if you haven't been keeping track of them from the start of the game, like I did, for instance, because I just didn't even know how they worked at the start of the game. So yes, that's, I think, gonna be all for this episode. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load my last game, and let's confirm that we've already done this contest, which should still be this test rather, which should and indeed still is a test of accuracy that we have already won. So yes, now that we all know how tests and contests work in this game, now that we know why they're different from time to time, and now that we know why the ones that you see in the game might be different from the ones that you see in my game, or the ones that you see on walkthroughs, so now that we know how they work, now that we don't have to worry, like it's no longer mysterious, now you can finally come up with a plan for how to get all of them, if that's something that you choose to do. And again, the key is in knowing when the area has reset, and in saving right before you go into that map, after the reset has been triggered, and then loading until you get one of the contests that you haven't done yet. Alright, I think that covers just about everything. Because this is a tutorial episode on one specific thing, I'm not going to be doing any other quests. I'm not going to be making any other game progress. That's all going to happen in future episodes. But even this does count as a bit of progress, because we did the contests of, well, might and maybe luck? Yeah, I think we did might and luck, and then we did the test of accuracy. So now in my game, I know that I have 3 contests and 5 tests left. So we made a bit of progress as well. And before I end things off, I know we came to Erathia to do the contest here because the place had reset, but I didn't pick up the horseshoes. And this is another thing you should be doing whenever you go to a map that's reset, is check the stables and see are there any horseshoes to pick up, because the reason you're doing these tests and contests is for the skill points. And what's another good way to get skill points? Of course, you've got to be picking up your horseshoes. And I think that is going to be a good note to end this video on. So I hope this was useful to you. It certainly was something that was new to me, something that I learned for the first time how these things worked. So if you didn't know, then I hope this has been of some use to you, and it helps you on your own MM7 playthroughs. And if you came here just for this tutorial, then I thank you for watching. If you're someone who's been watching the series, then of course I thank you for sticking along. But even if you came just for this tutorial, and you don't care about the series, that's fine as well. I'm glad you watched all the same, although you may want to consider checking out the rest of the series if that's something you're into. But either way, to the people who are following the series, I say I will see you in the next episode, and until then, take care.